Hello everyone, Namaste. Welcome to my class. In this video, I am going to tell you about one of the important organelle of most of the eukaryotic cells. Without that, it is difficult to perform any function. That is called mitochondria. So, what are mitochondria? When it comes to exact textbook definition, the mitochondria are membrane-bound organelles present in the cytoplasm of all eukaryotic cells. They are responsible for producing ATP, the main energy currency of the cell. These mitochondria are popularly known as the powerhouse of cell, a phrase popularized by Philip Sienkiewicz in 1957 Scientific American article. Why mitochondria are called powerhouse of cells? Because their main function is to generate the majority of the energy in the form of ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate, to all the metabolic activities carried in the cell. So, who discovered these mitochondria? Albert von Kolliker in 1857, who invented these mitochondria in the muscle tissues of insects. The term mitochondrion was coined by Carl Benda in 1898, which means a thread-like granule. Let me brief the structure of mitochondria, but before that, those who are watching my channel for the first time, please do subscribe for more videos. Now, coming to the structure of mitochondria. Mitochondria are rod-shaped double membrane organelle found in both plant and animal cells. These mitochondria are small size between 0.5 to 3 micrometer length, and these are microscopic organelles but are not visible under a microscope unless they are stained. Coming to internal structures, unlike other organelles, mitochondria have two membranes, an outer membrane and an inner membrane. Each membrane has different functions. Coming to outer membrane. Small molecules can pass freely through this, and this outer portion includes proteins called porins, which form channels that allow proteins to cross or flow. It also hosts several enzymes with a wide variety of functions. Intermembrane space. This is the area between the inner and outer membrane region. Inner membrane. This membrane holds proteins that have several roles. There are no porins in the inner membrane, so molecules can only cross it in special membrane transporters. This is where most of the ATP is created. Cristae. These are the folds of the inner membrane. They increase the membrane surface area, therefore increasing the space available for chemical reactions. Matrix. This is the space within the inner membrane containing hundreds of enzymes. It is important in the production of ATP. Mitochondrial DNA also present here. These mitochondria are present in nearly all types of human cells. It is important for survival. Different cell types have different numbers of mitochondria. The number of mitochondria in a cell varies widely by organisms, tissues, and even type of cells. Cells with a high demand for energy tend to have greater number of mitochondria. For example, cells in the liver, kidney and muscles, heart tend to have lots of mitochondria. A mature red blood cell has no mitochondria, whereas a liver cell can have more than 2000 mitochondria. Can you believe it? Mitochondria take up around 40% of the cytoplasma in the heart muscle cells. So, heart is also requires more number of mitochondria. Mitochondria constantly divide by fission and bond together by fusion. So, in reality, these organelles are linked together in ever changing networks. In sperm cells, the mitochondria is spiral in the midpiece and provide energy for the tail motion, that is for movement. Coming to mitochondrial DNA, although most of our DNA is in the nucleus of each cells, but mitochondria have their own set of DNA. Interestingly, this mitochondrial DNA is more similar to bacterial DNA. The mitochondrial DNA holds the instruction for several proteins and other cellular support equipment across 37 genes. The human genome stored in the nuclei of our cells contains around 3 billion base pairs, whereas mitochondrial DNA consists of less than 17,000 base pairs. During reproduction, half of the child's DNA comes from their father and half from their mother. However, the child always receives their mitochondrial from their mother. Because of this, mitochondrial DNA have proven very useful for tracing genetic lines. So, coming to functions of the mitochondria, although the best known role of mitochondria is, you already know, that energy production, they also carry out other important functions. Mitochondria are also involved in other important functions such as signaling between cells and cell death, otherwise known as apoptosis. In fact, only about 3% of genes needed to make a mitochondria go into its energy production equipment. The vast majority are involved in other jobs that are specific to the cell type where they are occur. So below, these are the some of the mitochondrial roles. Coming to first one, producing energy. As you know already, ATP, a complex organic chemical found in all life forms and is often referred to as molecular unit of currency because it powers metabolic processes. Most ATP is produced in mitochondria through a series of reactions known as the citric acid cycle or Krebs cycle. Energy production mostly takes place on the folds of cristae. I already told the inner membrane have most of the cristae. Because of that, surface area will increase. Because of that, energy production will increase. Mitochondria convert chemical energy from food into a form of energy that any type of cells can use it. This process is called oxidative phosphorylation. The Krebs cycle produces a chemical called NADH. Enzyme in the cristae use NADH to produce ATP. These ATP molecules store energy in the form of chemical bonds. When these chemical bonds break, the energy will be released. Second one is cell death or apoptosis or programmed cell death is an essential part of life. As cells age or break, they are cleared away and destroyed. Mitochondria help decide which cells are destroyed. Mitochondria release cytochrome C, which activates caspase, one of the chief enzymes involved in the cell destruction during apoptosis. Because certain diseases such as cancer involved a breakdown in regular apoptosis, some research suggests that mitochondrial dysfunction plays a role in the diseases. Third one is storing calcium. Calcium is vital for various cellular activities, as you know. For instance, like releasing calcium back into a cell can initiate a release of neurotransmitter from a nerve cell or hormone from endocrine cells. Calcium is also necessary for muscle function, blood clotting, and among other things. Because calcium is so critical, the cell regulates it tightly. Mitochondria play a part in this by absorbing calcium ions and holding them until they are necessary. Fourth one is heat production or thermogenesis. When we are cold, we shiver to keep warm. However, the body can also generate heat in other ways, one of which is by using a tissue known as brown fat. During the process called proton leak, mitochondria can generate heat. This is known as non shivering thermogenesis. Fifth one is regulation of metabolic activities. Mitochondria control the metabolism of carbohydrates and fats. They convert glucose and fatty acids into usable energy. Sixth and last one is biosynthesis of molecules. Participate in synthesizing amino acids, steroids, and parts of heme groups. So that is all for today. I hope you understand well. Any clarification, please text me. Thank you. See you in the next.